Hi, everyone. It's Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer. And today we're going to talk about handling stressful situations. We've all been in them. We all encounter them in our daily lives just because of the pace that life has assumed for all of us who live in a technological society. And my guides have come through with an incredible practice that will help us really get through those situations. But first, we're going to look at what they are, how we're causing them, and what we can do. And then afterward, I want us to imagine that we're in these stressful situations and practice what they've shared with us. I've been practicing this since they shared it with me, and it has really been helping. It, interestingly enough, helps me sit up straighter, especially when I'm at the computer. And those of you who know me know that computer work can often be very frustrating for me. So this has been really beneficial to help me not get frustrated over those computer situations that used to just get me completely unhinged. So they begin. Dearest ones, because of the nature of the physical environment in which you live, stress has become a byproduct of everyday life. We can all agree that, yes, we are in a time when there's a lot of pressure all the time, which can result in a lot of stress. It's the common thread that ties modern society together and is curiously absent from those societies viewed to be less advanced. It's this contrast that we must examine if you are to understand your role in producing stress and your ability to deal with it effectively. There's no situation you will ever encounter for which there's no remedy. However, in order to apply the remedy, you must be prepared to give up all that's no longer serving you. Now, before you run off down the highway and say, oh my gosh, they're going to tell me to give up my job, no, that's not the way Loving Source works. They tell you how to function within what already is and how to graciously and gratefully walk away from that which is no longer serving you, knowing that something even better is there for you. For it's the very lifestyle you've adopted that's causing the stress and not the fault of the technology or other advancements. Even though those societies which have less technological advances available have less stress within their culture, it's not the technology that has brought stress to you, but your relationship with technology. Now, I know for me and my computer woes, that is absolutely true. But I also know from practicing what they have shown me that I'm manufacturing it. Stress is manufactured in the attitude of lack. It's, again, a fear-based response, but in this case to artificial stimulus. Now that you can do more in less time, you've taken that ability and used it as a reason to speed up everything. By doing so, you've created an artificial rhythm to your lives that holds you in a perpetual state of lack. Because you can do more in less time, you fabricate more for yourselves to do. Instead of just saying, wow, I've got 15 minutes, let me meditate, we create these busy things for us to do that just draw us away from our center. You work in jobs in which you produce quotas for a paycheck instead of excellence for a sterling reputation and reward. Even though most of you have nowhere more important to go, you rush through the thing you're doing so you're available for the next thing you want to do, so you can rush through that, get it done poorly, and rush into the next thing. Those societies which have not had their pace artificially enhanced do not rush. They look for quality, not quantity, and they have no fear of missing out. They don't occupy the fear-based place of lack, and they get everything done without causing unnecessary emotion or strain upon their psyche or physical body. Now, we understand that none of you wish to part with your time-saving devices, but you must learn to balance every aspect of your lives if you wish to experience harmony instead of stress and anxiety. To do this successfully, you must commit to the breath. No other function of the body is as essential for health and well-being, but no other part is so badly neglected. This is in part because of the automatic pattern of breathing. Without your conscious direction, the breath will happen, sustain you, and provide life-giving support. It's easily overlooked because it happens purposefully and perfectly without your attention. But in your modern society, this function holds the key to living an abundant life as opposed to a surface or shallow life. Now, if we take a minute and look at the less technologically advanced societies, they are in generally agriculturally based, which means they have to wait for the plants to grow. They know not to dig up the seed to make sure that it's sprouted. They trust the process. They're outside. They're breathing deeply. They're walking. They're getting exercise, which is causing them to breathe deeply again. They're in the rhythm of life that we have forgotten. Take a moment now to close your eyes and breathe deeply. Take at least 2 or 3 deep, full breaths. Breathe all the way down into the bottom of your lungs and empty those lungs fully. If done properly, you will feel an energy surge throughout your body, a new alertness and connectivity to life and the task at hand. The breath holds the power to engage you more fully in whatever you're doing, whether it be physical or intellectual in nature. Do not wait until undergoing physical exercise to use the breath as your ally. The only time you can cease to be mindful of the breath is when you have already succumbed to a deep state of sleep. Until then, you must be in a state of breathing awareness. Really think about that. Breathing awareness, being conscious of the breath that you are taking and doing your best to fill your lungs at every opportunity. Begin each day by filling your lungs and emptying them completely. Those of you who immediately reach for a stimulant to start your day must energize the body with breath. Ideally, you would follow this deep breathing energizing session with one of quiet meditation, where once again the breath becomes your primary focus for yourself, creating for yourself a state of calm serenity that will carry you forward into a day that, although it may be filled with tasks, will no longer appear overwhelming or stressful. So take a look at what they've just offered us. They didn't say throw away everything you have to do and just sit quietly and meditate all day. They said use the breath as your ally. Use the breath to help you be very mindful and extremely efficient when you're doing your work. When you're breathing in this powerful oxygen, your brain automatically works better. You think more clearly. When you take time to practice mindful, regulated breathing, you eliminate the fear, the lack-based response that shallow, unregulated breathing encourages. If you've ever had a panic attack or watched someone that was undergoing a panic attack, the first thing that happens is they feel they cannot catch their breath. Their breathing becomes very fast and very shallow. They've stepped in to a lack place, a fear that they do not have enough breath or cannot catch their breath. And then, of course, it becomes a physical response of, oh no, now my body will not be able to sustain itself. The earth and all of its inhabitants are contained within an energetic sphere that pulsates at a certain optimal frequency. Get a hold of that. When you are functioning in that sphere of energy, within that optimal frequency, you're going to be so much more in tune with your life and the world in general. When you're breathing regular deep breaths, you automatically find and begin harmonizing with that life beat or vibrational heartbeat. Because the earth in its natural state knows only abundance and has no fear of lack, you incorporate the feeling of abundant well-being expressed by the earth and the elementals when you take the time to fully appreciate and use the breath appropriately. And I love that they said fully appreciate. Do we forget to appreciate the beauty and the power in our ability to breathe and to breathe deeply? In time, with continued practice, you will discover your efficiency rate increasing, your stress levels decreasing, your satisfaction with the quality of your life increasing, and your fear of missing out or of being disappointed fading away. You'll no longer be in the trap. If I don't do it now, it will never happen again, and you will step into that place of knowing, that place of certainty, of surety, of calmness. Modern society has a rhythm or a pace that has become faster. Yet we are not suggesting that you drop out to live off the land. Hallelujah, because not all of us want to do that. However, we do encourage each one of you to enter into the practice of mindful breathing, of harmonious breath that joins you with the life-giving sustenance provided by the collective of energy of which you are a part. Breathing ties you into the collective energetic sphere, which operates at an optimal frequency and automatically tunes every part of your body to that frequency so that you are breathing in more of the life-giving energy provided by the universe and breathing out the stress, the fear, the lack, the missing out. Beginning each morning, spend a few minutes breathing deeply and rhythmically until you feel yourself relaxing into your fullness. Repeat the same exercise before bed and at regular intervals throughout your day. If you find yourself unable to adopt a habit of awareness breathing regularly, then set breathing alarms on your portable devices to alert you throughout your day. We all have smartphones. Let's use them for a purpose other than social media. Get a breathing alarm going on your phone if you feel that long periods of time happen when you are just spaced out and you've forgotten all about breathing. That alarm goes off. Spend a few minutes, only has to be a minute or two, taking those deep, full breaths and exhaling fully, and you will return to whatever you were doing much clearer and calmer and able to be more efficient. Like all habits, it will seem unnecessary and perhaps even annoying at first, but with repeated practice, the benefits of living in harmony with, as opposed to in competition to, the energetic pulse of the universe will enable you to feel more alive and accomplish more of value with less stress and anxiety. Just imagine how incredibly wonderful your life will be when you're in control of how you're feeling just by using that simple little tool of breathing. Stress is self-imposed by your perception that it's impossible to get it all done. Awareness or mindful breathing will create within you greater capability for excellence, which in turn creates greater overall efficiency. The stress you were responding to, the fear of not being able to, dissolves in the new certainty you will maintain when you fully master the art of awareness breathing. Every situation, whether it's physical, emotional, or mental, must and will respond to deep, regulated breathing. Must and will. Remember that. It's not, I hope so. Gee, it sounds good, but I doubt it. Must and will respond to deep, regulated breathing. Once shallow panic breathing is replaced by deep awareness breathing, any belief that you can't, you won't, you must rush, push, or strain against is replaced by the understanding that you already have more than enough within you to meet every challenge. No one came into this life unprepared. Every single one of us brought everything we need in order to successfully handle our lives. And mindful awareness breathing will help you remember all that you already know and put you in the place where you can be fully alert and in sync with the harmony of the universe. Stress relief is as close as your next breath. Breathe deeply, intimately, and completely. Please don't buy the thinking that stress is caused by something outside of yourself. Nothing happens to you. Everything happens because of the vibration that you are sending out in response to the situation. We are perfectly able to respond in a proactive way to any and every situation, but we have to believe it's possible, practice awareness breathing and really being present in what's happening, and watch our thoughts. So stress is not imposed on us. It is produced by us. So let's take a look at what they've shared with us and then practice some of these wonderful suggestions that they've given us. So we got to remember that it is the most prevalent thought that modern society gives us the impression that there's never enough time, that we're missing out if we can't keep up. People get a new cell phone, and a year later another cell phone comes out, and there's nothing wrong with the one that they have, but I've got to have the newest one. That kind of thinking gets us into a place where we never feel good enough or like we're doing enough. And it's time for us to just breathe deeply and ask ourselves, how do I really feel about this situation? What do I really want? And what am I allowing to control me because of factors that I haven't really looked at, that I've just absorbed without thinking about them? So, because society encourages us to compare, to compete, and to feel less than if we don't have that latest everything. And because we can, we often rush when there's no need to hurry. We've become programmed to expect a certain amount of anxiety or stress on a daily basis. It isn't normal anymore just to relax, just to enjoy, just to sit back. It's normal to rush, to have too much to do on your to-do list, and to feel badly about not finishing it. We've been programmed to look for instant rewards. And if the reward isn't instantaneous, we want to pick apart our actions, looking for why. Hey, what went wrong? How can I get faster results? if manifestation is an instant, I must have not been doing it right. Let me look at all that I did wrong. And then, of course, we know, because we talked about this before, when you look at what's wrong, you get more that's what's wrong. And so it becomes this incredibly vicious cycle of not getting the result, getting anxious, looking at what's wrong, and then getting more that's wrong. So that manifestation that was on its way to you just turns around and goes back. It says, oh no, this is too crazy. I can't be part of this. This person obviously doesn't want this. They can't seem to hold on to a thought that's positive for more than 5 seconds. And what if it takes 6 months, a year, for that manifestation to be fully formed? What if it takes that long for all of the people that need to be a part of this to gather in the energetic space and create this miracle for you? Plant the seed and allow it to grow. When we push too hard for something to happen, we step out of the rhythm of the universe and into a place of frantic forcing. And I know we've all been there. I've been there. I'm desperate. I've got to push it. I've got to force it. And then that desperate energy makes us feel like we're failures because we've pushed away the thing with our desperation. We're now out of divine timing. We're hoping to make things happen. Since they won't, we create stress. They cannot happen in an atmosphere of desperation and force. The frustration of why this isn't happening to me or for me then creates more stress. Then the anger over the seeming injustice of it all creates even more stress. First, it didn't happen because we had unrealistic time frames. Then we get frustrated that it's not happening because we had unrealistic expectations in the first place. And then we become angry, and we might even go into self-pity because, oh, poor me, now I didn't get this thing. We forget we are powerful creators, but we must remember that creating happens in harmony with the divine, instead of at cross purposes. We can't go against the natural rhythm and expect to succeed. When we work in harmony, then we can create abundance in all areas of our life. A regular habit of awareness breathing will help you take the edge off or lower the perceived threat or stress. It will place you in divine timing so that you're flowing and not forcing. It's going to reduce muscle tension. Instead of needing to go for a massage every day, you're going to naturally begin allowing the breathing to oxygenate all of the muscles so they can release. And when you're breathing more fully, you'll naturally want to move more because you're not so tense. It's going to allow you to sleep better. It will improve mental clarity. It will improve your efficiency. It will provide better physical health. It's an incredible list of benefits. And it just amazes me that I was just as guilty as everyone else of not fully taking advantage of this miraculous cure for just about everything. So join me. Join me in practicing this on a regular basis. Awareness breathing. The way to really fill your lungs completely and empty them. And allow every part of your being to be completely oxygenated so that stress falls off, clarity improves. With the improvement of clarity, then efficiency improves. And then you will find that you have more time to do a meditation, to take the time to just sit quietly with the divine and be refilled and refueled in a beautiful and more purposeful way. So, I've created some imaginary situations that are guaranteed to produce a stressful or anxious state in your body. And now we're going to use awareness breathing to nullify the effect. Now, would anyone like to volunteer? You don't have to be a volunteer, but if you would like to, star 2. It's just a game, so this is in no way trying to point out that you're the person that is doing this. So you don't have to worry about there being any hard questions or challenges. We're just going to experience the difference when we are breathing shallowly, or we're breathing in a sort of panic state, and when we're breathing deeply and we're actually sending oxygen to every part of the body. Because once we feel the difference, we'll be motivated to continue. You know, I write these posts, I channel them, and I always feel, I really have to check this out. But it wasn't until I stopped and took a moment to practice what they were sharing with me that I thought, oh my gosh, I really have not been breathing properly, especially at the computer as I was having to type this up and the computer was doing its little happy dance with me. I got to breathe through it, and once I settled my energetic offering, my electrical output, the computer also settled, which was also very telling for me. So we're going to practice in this safe, controlled space, so we'll know what to do if we meet this situation at some point in the future. It's always good to practice when we're safe and nothing is happening, rather than wait until we're in the thick of it and try to remember how to do it. So we got to remember that the best way to avoid a stressful situation is to be in harmony prior to the situation. So while we're doing these exercises, we're going to work on 2 fronts when we do this work in advance, because we're going to prepare ourselves to know how to handle a stressful situation, and we're going to have this tool, this technique, working with us, and if we practice it, it will become automatic, and then we won't enter into that panicked breathing place. Okay, star 2, if I've got a volunteer who will be willing to describe what's going on when I start creating these stressful situations for you. Just someone who will describe what's happening in their body as we build up this stressful situation, and then describe to us what it feels like once we have engaged in awareness breathing, even though that situation we will pretend is still ongoing. How does your body feel now? So I will do my best to try to keep the stress feeling ongoing so that we can have a real shot at feeling the difference. Because if I were just to say, okay, now you're in this stressful situation, how does it feel? Do some awareness breathing, and I don't keep the pressure on, well, you're not in that stressful situation, so we won't get the full benefit. So I am not trying to make anybody feel stressful, but I do want to replicate the situation as much as possible. Because something that I don't know that I've ever shared is when I sit down to do the channeling, I can sometimes feel myself becoming anxious. At times, the information will come faster than I can write, and I start this dialogue with myself in the other part of my brain that's not receiving the channeling. What if I get it wrong? What if I don't find the right words? What if I can't interpret what they're saying? What if I miss words? What if, and I can feel myself getting anxious. So as this channeling continued, as I mentioned to you, I took the time. I stopped. I breathed. I used my awareness breathing, and the information became clearer, slowed down, but I actually finished in less time. And I know that sounds like it's completely impossible, but because I wasn't anxious, it flowed so much more clearly, and I was able to stay with the thread of thought so much more easily that it actually took me less time than when I was trying to write as fast as I could and getting tense. And I know when I'm writing as fast as I can, I should finish more quickly, but for whatever reason, when I really slowed down and that communication became even clearer, I actually went faster. So that's my little share for the day. And now, come on, I still don't have a volunteer. Star 2, I need a volunteer. It's going to be so much better if we have somebody who's willing to volunteer, who will be in these situations for me. Oh, Audrey, I love you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And actually, Audrey, I have to tell you, it was your email with you, when I sent out an email for suggestions, this was one of the things that you said you had asked other people. So thank you, Audrey, on two fronts. First, for being our volunteer, and secondly, for providing this really great topic, because I don't know that I would have thought of this on my own. So, Audrey, I can't hear you, honey. Audrey? Check your phone to make sure. Oh, there you go. Okay, honey.
I'm sorry, I had it on mute.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm so happy when somebody else doesn't always do computer things perfectly, because it makes me feel like there's hope for me. All right. So here is our first stressful situation. Now remember, I'm going to try to make this as dramatic as possible so you can really feel it, so that we can see with the awareness breathing how your body is able to relax even in the middle of this stressful situation. Okay, so we're in a work week. You've woken up late. You're going to be late for work, or if you go to school, you're going to be late for school. You're rushing, you stub your toe, you cut your finger, you keep making mistakes, you're spilling the coffee, the tea, whatever it is. Everything is going wrong, and you've just been written up for being late 6 times before, and you know that if you are going to be late one more time, there's a good possibility you're going to get fired, and you're the only income provider for your family. Plus, you turn on the TV, and there's been an accident, and there's on the highway that you have to take to get to work, and there is no way you're going to be able to get to work on time.
Oh, my gosh.
How are you feeling?
All over. I feel stressed all over.
Okay, so
every nerve.
Same scenario. No way you can get to work on time. Your family is depending on you. You've already been late. There's a good possibility you're going to be fired. I want you to take a deep breath. Breathe in as deeply as you can. Hold it for a moment, and then let it go. And go ahead and do this at least 3 times until you can feel some reduction in the stress. Deep breath in, and then let it out. And how is your body?
I felt a reduction the first breath, but it just got better and better. The third breath, I was relaxed.
Oh, beautiful. Now, what it's really important to understand here is nothing changed. You don't suddenly have this great understanding of, well, I'll rent a helicopter and get to work on time. You know, God is not going to give me a flying car and get me there. But suddenly, at least I felt I gained incredible clarity, and I just knew that somehow it would work out. Somehow a situation that a solution that I hadn't thought of before would be available, and it would be okay.
Right. Before you said it, I was thinking it's going to be okay.
Yes, that's exactly. I was like, wait a minute. Nothing has changed. But I was doing this with you, and I'm thinking, yes, but it's going to be okay.
Right.
And
that's
usually,
what I thought. It's going to be okay.
Yes, usually I'm like, well, I don't know how it's going to be okay. You know, I've got to come.
Right, you're so stressed.
Right. And this time I was just like, well, I don't know how it's going to work out. It's just going to work out.
Right.
Okay, so we've got another question. I'm not sure if it's question or volunteer. So Audrey, thank you. We've got another situation coming up. I'm going to call on you again if this is a question and not a volunteer. So hold on. Nancy, do you want to be a volunteer or do you have a question?
Volunteer.
Okay, so here is our next stressful situation. This time you're at work and you have a project deadline and you have a very angry boss. And so far, you've been working on this project for months. And you submitted the first proposal to your boss, and they were okay with it. And then you did some follow-up on it, and they said, this is absolute crap. I hate it. You are so stupid, Nancy. What's wrong with you? Why would you ever think that this was going to be good? How long have you been working here? And you don't deserve this position. How much do we pay you? I want this project finished and on deadline. And you have 2 days. You have to remake the entire project. And your boss has not really given you any guidelines as to what they do want. They've just told you everything you presented, which you believed was in line with their deadline, with their vision, is completely wrong. So you're starting from scratch. You have all of your regular work to do, and you have this project, and you know that this guy or girl is got a hair trigger temper, and your job is on the line. Okay, so how are you feeling?
Panicked, and I'm crying, of course.
Oh! Don't really cry.
I always cry. I cry with happy, sad.
Oh, okay.
But I would definitely be crying. I would feel myself freeze inside. I would panic, and I would cry.
I have a stomach ache. Yeah. Just creating this, I have a stomach ache. I've been in that situation where, I'd worked, and here we go, and I'm just thinking, oh, he's going to say, yeah, this is exactly, and he was like, what the hell is this? Like, what? You approved all of it going up to this point. What are you talking about? Absolute panic. Just absolute panic. Sweating, just wanting to throw up, just, oh my gosh, no idea how to go forward.
Yeah, I can't work like that. And that would stop me from being able to think, to try to come up with a plan. It would be over from that point.
Okay, so let's take a deep breath. Right now you can't think. Your stomach's in a knot, you're crying, you're frozen. Take that deep, full breath. it go. Take another deep, full breath. Let it out. Another deep, full breath. And what are you experiencing now as you think about this project? You still have a deadline.
What I would do in these situations, and I would tell other people to do this, I would say, he can't fire me unless God wants me fired.
Oh, beautiful.
And I would let it go. I would let it go.
And the thing that came up for me is I wanted to argue. The minute he cut me down to size with, what kind of crap are you trying to show me? I would want to argue and defend my position and tell him, hey, you approved, listen, you jerk, you approved the other ones. I didn't want to argue anymore. I just wanted to get it done. And I wanted to look for another job, but
right.
I was thinking, you know what? I don't feel that pressure to argue or prove myself. I'm just going to find the thing that they want, even if it's not as good as what I think I'm presenting, and let it go. So it creates this beautiful step back into harmony, away from I've got to be right, or I have to prove or defend myself. And that is so stress relieving. Okay, so Nancy, we're going to give you one more, then Audrey will go back to you. I'm going to bounce back and forth between you guys unless somebody else wants to volunteer as well. So now, Nancy, this one is pretty appropriate. You've had a screaming disagreement with your partner.
Oh, my Lord.
Or your children, or at work. I mean, it is knock down, drag out. You don't even recognize yourself. You got so angry. They pushed every button you have, and the relationship that may have already been on kind of shaky ground, you just wanted to let them have it, and you did. You got so angry, and you just threw every mean thing that you could think of, and they threw back at you every mean thing that you could think of, and now you're just bristling with anger. You are so tense and so vibrating with that kind of anger and that kind of hatred that comes up when people really know how to push our buttons and we haven't done the kind of work to clear. You're just vibrating with it. Where are you feeling that?
Okay, overall, I don't say those things because I would always say this. I think when you say something mean, it's always out there. It's always in the universe somewhere. You can't take it back. So if I was driven to that point, I wouldn't be sorry.
Yes, we're just
because
pretending.
It's so rare. If he took me to that point, which is rare, but I'm not saying it never happens. But if you took me to that point, I probably wouldn't be sorry, honestly. So you can correct me. I know that's probably not the right answer, but.
But where do you feel that in your body? I agree with you, and it's really hard.
Oh, all over. I would be shaking with anger.
Yeah, I mean, you've really got to, you got to go after my kids if you're going to get that kind of.
Yeah, I was going to say something about my son, and there's the trigger.
Right. If you want that reaction, you got to play really dirty. Otherwise, I'm just kind of like, oh my gosh. Okay. You need to do
not worth
some work.
It.
Right. You need to do some work on yourself. I'm glad I did mine because I hear you, but I'm not going to go there with you. But my kids, no, that's still a vulnerable place. They are my pride and joy, as your son is yours. So, somebody telling you your son is a worthless piece of shit. Oh, my God.
Oh, no, it's on.
I know. I just made myself ill. Oh, my God. was like, oh my gosh, I want to throw up. Oh.
I know. I want to hurt somebody right now.
But just saying that felt so awful. I wanted to throw up. Oh, okay. So we got to do some breathing because that really hurt me. Whew. And your son is not. Let me just say that.
I know.
Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Let's do some breathing because that really took it from me. That is so on me that knocked me right off. Took me by surprise. Whoa, it took me by surprise. Okay, so a couple of deep breaths. Oh, I feel like I want to call your son and say, I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, my Lord.
He's not sensitive like I am. He could brush it off.
Well, and he didn't even hear it. He doesn't even know I did it.
Right.
I just
Even if he did.
The guilt was like, oh, you horrible person.
No. You are not. Stop it.
Oh, my gosh. That's hilarious. Okay, one more.
Audrey, be glad that wasn't you.
Okay, I'm back in my body. Took a little adventure there. Whoa. Oh, Nancy, you got me. Oh, my gosh.
If there's ever a time to walk away from someone, that's the time.
Yes. Yes, and that's the other thing that we can always do. But as we're walking, breathe, because it will stop you from rehearsing what was just said. That's the other thing I noticed about this is when I'm really breathing, I'm not rehearsing that mean thing that was just said to me. And I can let it go even more easily. I'm really actively putting myself into the solution space, even though it doesn't automatically pop into mind. It might take a few minutes. But I'm just like, oh, let me focus on this and completely fill my mind with what I have to do with this breathing, and it just gives space to let go even further of that really unpleasant comment. Okay, so Nancy,
because if you don't, I just want to add, because if you don't do that, and I'm very non-confrontational, but we're talking about our children here, I would think about all the things I didn't say that I should have said, and I would I'd go back and start it up again.
I would. Yes. Yes, you bring my kids into it. I'm sorry, it's off. And, actually, I had a conversation with someone who was supposed to be very close to me who tried that. And I didn't even understand what I was doing. Luckily, my guides were with me because I had the presence of mind to take a deep breath and say, because this was someone who I couldn't just slam, even though I wanted to. I had the presence of mind to say, I will talk with you about anything but that. What would you like to talk about? And they hung up.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah, they hung up. But, they were going for the juggler, and I was like, seeing red, and took a breath, and the angels put the words in my mouth, and I said, I will talk with you about anything but that. What would you like to talk about? And they hung up.
That's great advice. Because they knew you weren't going to engage, so.
Right. Luckily, the angels came through because they cut that off at the knees, and I was stunned, speechless. So I swear it was another being that spoke for me because I was like speechless. So that does work. Okay, so now we're going to give you a break, Nancy. Audrey, are you?
Yes.
Oh, good. All right, your turn again. And this is
okay.
a good one. This is a good one for you because I know of a certain situation when you needed to replace your car. So now You're in a traffic jam, and
shoot.
you're late for an appointment. Okay. Now, do you want do you do you want this to be an appointment or to work? What is more realistic for you?
To work.
Okay. So let's build a nice scenario for you. You woke up on time and you were going great, but then you started finding other things to do because you really didn't want to go to work that day. And so all of a sudden you look at the clock and, oh my gosh, it's 10 minutes later than I need to leave if I'm going to be on time. And you go flying out of the house into your car, zoom out of the driveway, and
every day.
You blow through the yellow light. You're okay there, onto the freeway, and bam, right into a traffic jam. The sweat is starting to form on your brow. You're looking at your watch, or your phone, you're honking the horn, you're trying to switch lanes, just barely moving. How are you feeling as the clock keeps moving forward and you don't?
Stressed and nervous.
Okay, where are you? Oh, it's in my stomach again. Where are you feeling this stress?
In my stomach.
Ah, so I'm picking you up. Okay, so you're still in your car. You're not going anywhere. You're started 10 minutes late, and it looks like you're going to be about 30 minutes late. Take a deep breath. And another deep breath along with a deep exhale. And another deep breath. And what are you noticing about your body, even though you're not moving and you're going to be late? What are you noticing?
I don't care about anything. I feel good.
And that, hey, sometimes we screw up and we leave late and we get slammed right into a traffic jam. The only thing we can do is relax. And generally when we do relax, there's some little lane that opens up and we get there faster. Whereas when we sit there swearing and sitting in our sweat-soaked stress, everything just tightens up and we're later than we would have been otherwise. Then somebody has an accident in front of us and that slows it down even more. So just, yes, remembering to breathe through it. When you walk into that place calm and peaceful, everybody is going to respond to you calmly and peacefully and not angry. It will be sort of like, hey, you know what? I'm glad you made it. I'm sorry that the traffic was bad, or thank goodness you didn't have an accident, or a normal response. Because truly, what's going to happen in that half an hour? Usually nothing. It's just made up in our minds. Perhaps there would be a meeting first thing in the morning. Okay, well, you could call and say, there is nothing I can do. Can we start the meeting in half an hour when I get there? And so everybody goes and takes a coffee break. They're probably going to be thrilled.
Right.
Okay. So now, the next one that you get to do is you're going to be taking a test with a time limit. So this would be, I remember when I moved here, I had to take the driver test again. I mean, I've been driving for a really long time.
Right.
I was still completely panicked when I looked at those stupid questions. First of all, they have different line markings. Different.
It's the hardest test ever.
Yes, the designations mean something that are peculiar just to this state. Well, I went in there without studying, And of course, I get all of the line questions. I'm like, what the hell? I don't know. It's yellow, okay? but in California, they have all these different things that mean the different ways they've got the lines set up mean certain things. I completely failed. I was so stressed. I was like total in complete panic. I mean, of all the questions that I could have gotten out of, let's say, 50 questions, I think there were 30 on lines. And I was like, oh Lord. Lines and canyon driving. Two things I knew nothing about. So I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. I take the test up to the lady and she's like, here's the book.
Well, at least she gave you a book to study.
I think you need to review. But the good news is, honey, that you can take the test up to 3 times without paying again. I said, oh, thank you. oh, thank you. Because my score was so bad, she thought I'd have to take it 3 times.
Oh, my God.
So I got home.
I always fail those ones.
Oh, Lord. Well, I got home and read the book, and I was like, oh, that's what that means. Why I don't have 6,000 tickets for driving for all that time without knowing what the lines meant. I don't know. I was doing all the things wrong.
Oh, well.
Yeah, luckily. I mean, the way they drive around here, they don't pay any attention anyway. But, you know, I was like, oh, that's supposed to mean something. Oh, gotcha. So I passed the next time. Oh, and I also got all the drunk questions wrong too. So I had lines and drunk questions. When are you drunk? I was like, I got the, put you in jail forever. That was my answer. When are you drunk? I don't know. 2.0. I don't know. I don't know either. I don't remember anymore, but I got all the drunk and all of the lines wrong. The lady was like, either you drink heavily or you don't drink at all because you didn't get one of these right. Oh, it was hilarious.
I don't know the laws. So.
Well, I mean, we all know don't drink and drive. That's all I needed to know, right? If I have a glass of wine with dinner, I'm certainly not going to go running out for a joyride. It's not that hard. So anyway. Okay. Enough silly. Do you want to be at the DMV then? Yes, no. Let's put you there because that's a horrible test. Nobody knows the answers to those questions.
No, I don't.
Okay, you're at the
stressed.
Okay, you're at the DMV and they have you in the little cubicle. They have you in the little cubicle and the guy next to you is the smart ass that knows the book. So he just flips through it and you're there. Still on question 1, and you can see that he's already turning his paper in, and the woman is giving him his certificate, and you're thinking, oh, man. Okay, but you're looking at these multiple choice questions, and they are multiple choice questions. They are the weirdest answers possible. Things like, right, they ask you, when should you put on your seatbelt? Always, never, only when the car is moving, or some stupid ass answer like that. I'm like, huh? I don't know. I guess always, and they want no, only when the car is moving. I don't know, so, or only after you put the key in the ignition and stepped on the gas pedal. That's the appropriate way in motor vehicle law. Okay, well, I got that one wrong too. So those are the kinds of, we got to stop laughing because we're not going to let you get stressed. Okay, so you're at DMV or motor vehicle, whatever it's called there. And
No.
you have all these multiple choice questions, and
I don't know.
none of them make any sense because none of the answers are really real answers. They're just kind of like somebody decided to make something up today. And it's never the way any normal good driver drives. That's what always surprises me. No good driver would follow their protocol because you would never leave the parking spot. But anyway, okay, so you're looking at these questions, and okay, you're going to have all the drunk questions, all the, when are you impaired, and what's your jail sentence, and you're going to have all of the driving in dangerous situations.
So I'm going to fail.
Well, I just want you to look at that test and realize you don't know any of the answers. Any of them. And not only that, you're on your third time, and you're going to have to fork over another, $50 to take this test again. So you're giving up $50, your time, and you've already done this 2 other times.
Oh,
You're looking at this test, and nothing looks like what it said in the book. How do you feel?
Stressed.
And of course, we have the people around you who are zipping through their tests, and you're hearing the lady, "Oh, you got 98%. Good for you." And
I'm gonna get.
You're hoping she's not going to talk loud when she tells you your score.
Of course.
So where are you feeling this stress? Just imagine looking at the test and thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know one answer. I don't know one of these answers. And I'm not really good at guessing. I can't even figure out which one to eliminate, even though it's multiple choice. I'm going to fail again. Where do you feel the stress?
In the stomach. I feel like I'm going to get sick.
Okay, so let's take a couple of deep breaths. You're still at DMV. You're looking at the questions. You don't recognize any of the answers, even though you've studied. Take a couple of deep breaths. Does your stomach still feel sick?
No, I'm relaxed after the third breath, but I just don't care.
But look at the test and see, can you begin to figure out some of the answers now that you're relaxed?
Maybe.
Okay. That's an honest answer. We'll take it.
Okay.
Okay. So you want to do one more?
Okay.
Yeah, we're running out of time, so I really got to thank you all for staying on here. Okay. So this time you're under a time crunch. And for you, because I know your job, we're going to say that they limit the amount of time that you can be on the call with someone, because there's a certain quota that you have to, a certain number of calls that you have to get through.
Right. Yeah.
And your manager has said to you, the next person that goes over the length of time for the call is going to get their paycheck docked. And you're on a call with a person who is crying and telling you their life story, and you don't feel like you can hang up. You just feel so completely wedded to this person. You feel so bad for them. They're telling you everything that is wrong and why this situation happened, and they are just telling you, oh, but thank you for listening. And your manager is tapping her watch. And you're saying, oh, my God, I got to get off this call. I got to get off this call. What do I do? What am I going to do? This person is pouring their life out to me. And I'm going to, and she's tapping her watch. She's pacing up and down in front of you. And the person just keeps talking and talking. They won't even take a breath. They are not even letting you say, gee, I'm so sorry that happened. Can we make these arrangements? Nothing. You can't get a word in edgewise. She's glaring at you, tapping her watch, walking up and down and saying, roll it up, wrap it up, wrap it up. And you can feel just everybody's beginning to look at you. You can feel their censure from all around the room of just, there's gonna be hell to pay. She's gonna call you into her office and just tell you this, you can't continue if you want to keep this job. You cannot allow that to happen. And then she'll replay the recording and further embarrass you because she'll see that you completely lost control of the call.
Yeah.
So
you're so mean.
These are all things that have happened to me.
These are things that have happened to me too.
So how do you feel?
Stressed.
Knowing that all this, not only can you not seem to find a way back to handle this situation, but she's going to call you in your office and you're going to hear a recording and you're going to be so embarrassed because you didn't follow any of the things that you rehearsed or that you suggested, and they're going to point them all out to you.
Right.
Where is that stress hitting you? This is more embarrassment.
I'm sweating. This is sweating.
Okay. So here's our upset caller. Blah, 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 blah. And so we're just going to take a couple of deep breaths. The caller has not shut up, has giving no indication that they're going to stop anytime soon. Just take a couple of deep breaths. You know that this embarrassment is waiting to meet you when you do get off the call, but you're still going to take a couple of deep breaths. And how do you feel about the situation now?
A little more relaxed. I know what I would say.
See, we're beginning to get answers. All right. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to let you get off the hot seat, and we're going to bring Nancy back for the last one.
Good.
And so, Nancy, this is your choice. You're going to put yourself in a position where you need to do something that feels challenging for you. So it can be, in my case, I would always pick technology, having to learn a new skill on the computer. I mean, my stomach hurts immediately just thinking about it. But it can be public speaking. Whatever you have a fear of, public speaking, something that's physically difficult or mentally taxing, tell us, if you don't mind, tell us about that fear and how you feel when somebody challenges you to do this.
Test taking is overwhelming.
Okay. And what are you thinking as you go in to take the test?
I can't do it. I'm going to fail. I'm going to run out of time. Everybody else is going to pass, and I'm going to be the only one left behind.
Okay. And where are you? Oh, and you just wrote me about a test, your upcoming test. So let's put you in that situation.
Yeah, a year from now. I passed it once, but my license will expire at the end of 2019, so I do have to do it again if I go back into insurance. Okay,
but let's pretend you're at the insurance exam. Now, you have prepared, you've done the studying, you've been in the field before, you've passed the test before. But you sit down to take the test or you prepare to go into the testing room. Where are you beginning to feel the anxiety?
In my chest.
Okay.
Very tight.
Very tight. Anywhere else in your body?
I'd say the chest area is where the focus is going to be.
Okay. And how about your thinking? Do you feel clear?
No.
All righty. So imagine that you're in the room. They've just handed out however they do it. I guess it would be by computer these days, but so they put you all behind your separate monitors, and they tell you, get started, and you have so much time. Oh, my stomach immediately clenched up. Computers and time. Uh-oh. I went downhill. So you're sitting in front of this monitor. You see the first question. You don't know the answer. I want you to immediately take a deep, full breath. Really deep, and then exhale completely. Just close your eyes. Don't even look at the test question. Another deep breath. And how is your chest feeling?
Tight, but less tight.
All right, take another deep breath. Just remember, there's no time limit. It can be, you might need 60 breaths. It doesn't matter. Just keep breathing until that chest has completely loosened, and then check your mind to see if you're clearer. Because sometimes one part of the body will release and the other won't. So in this particular case, I would continue to breathe, especially with my eyes closed so I don't see the thing in front of me that's causing stress. And do that breathing until your mind and your chest are clear. Have you gotten to that point?
Yes.
Open your eyes and pretend that you are looking again at the monitor and you're seeing this question. Do you have the feeling that you can reason it out?
It's not a reasoning test, unfortunately, and it's designed to trick people. So I would probably skip that one and go back to it later.
Okay, but you have a strategy in place. Okay.
Oh, before I go, I want to know what Audrey would say to her caller, because I've been in that situation.
Okay, Audrey, you're still unmuted. What would you say to your caller?
I would say, I gotta go. And they would go, okay, sorry.
Yeah, you know what?
Is there anything else I can help you with?
How simple
no,
is
I would
that?
say, I gotta go.
How simple
so
and beautiful is that? The other person just lost track of time. They were just waiting for Audrey to call them so they could unburden themselves to her. And yet when she reminded them just sweetly, they were like, oh, yeah, okay. Snap back to reality. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Thank you for that.
All right,
it really
guys.
happened to me. And the lady just said, okay.
Aw.
They hear a kind voice. They know you're empathetic, sympathetic to them, and they've got you. They'll lock you in.
Absolutely.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. And, who knows how much time is going by, because as a sympathetic or empathetic listener, you really are there with them. And you forget that, oh my gosh, look, I've been on this call for 20 minutes and we haven't resolved anything.
I'd have to take the doc and pay. I would have to let him talk, though.
Oh. Well,
I can't do it to him.
Do your breathing and then see what solution appears for you. Because that may not be for your highest good or for their highest good.
I'm going to remember what Audrey said.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to honor yourself. Yes, it's lovely to honor others, but honor yourself first with the intention that when you are filled up and loving, you can be that much more giving to another person.
True.
So when we
have to put the next person too.
Honestly, I didn't think breathing was going to be that big of a difference, but it does make a big difference.
As I told you, I was like, okay, I'll try it. Oh my gosh. I was like, well, wait a minute. This is this is a completely
I had
different.
no idea.
It was a completely different channeling session from one when I was like gripping the pen really tightly so I could write faster to just feeling like kind of relaxed and flowing, and I was like, whoa, I'm done? I don't get it.
Thank you.
I didn't have my usual panic. Why am I done? This is lovely. Thank you, angels. Thank you.
No, thank you for telling me.
Absolutely. Okay, now, guys, big announcement, and I did keep you over time, so I am sorry, but this was too fun. If you have a problem with procrastinating, they have given me the most brilliant tools for procrastination. It's not what you think it is. Procrastination is the absolute denial of your greatness. And if you are a procrastinator, you are withholding your abundance for yourself. So please, if this is an issue for you, the class is Sunday at 1 o'clock. Go to my website, marciamartinthehearthealer.com, Marcia, M-A-R-C-I-A, and it's How to Stop Procrastination. You want to take this class. Even if you can't be there live, you'll get the replay, you'll get follow-up notes. This is a life changer. Just like the breathing, which seemed so simple, this is even deeper than the breathing, and we will incorporate breathing. Now, I'm going to put breathing in everything. They gave us the heart breath that we use religiously, but oh my gosh, they showed me this one thing and it completely opened up everything. I had no idea, and I'm not going to spoil it. I have a great story to share with you in class. It was such a stupid thing, and I kept just avoiding it and excusing it. Oh, who cares? It's, doesn't impact anything. It did. It impacts everything because it is giving into this belief that you just are lacking something. So if procrastination is an issue for you, please join me on Sunday, or at least get signed up for the workshop if you can't be there on Sunday at 1 o'clock Pacific time, and you'll get the replay. As always, if you have questions after the workshop, especially if you were only taking the replay, please feel free to email me. I want you to get the absolute most out of every class, and this one has been a game changer for me. So, everyone, I love you. Thank you so much, Audrey and Nancy, for playing along and making this so fun.
Bye, Marcia. Love you.
Love you guys, and I will talk with you all next Wednesday. Until then, I'm sending you my love.